Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of Easy Buckets. How are you guys doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. In today's video, I got something that I guarantee you guys are going to love, especially if you're a big Lakers fan. We're going to be talking about the Lakers' new look roster and answering so many questions you guys might have right now. The Lakers are about to enter NBA training camp, and during this time, Frank Vogel and LeBron James have to find out what the best playbook, the best solution is, more importantly, the best rotation is for their roster. So if you're a big Lakers fan and you got some questions on your mind and you want some answers, you're gonna love this video. Let's not waste any time, let's get into it. With the NBA training camp coming up very soon, we NBA fans have a lot of questions, especially towards the Lakers. NBA training camp will officially start on September 28th, and even though that's more than a month away from me making this video, I do believe looking ahead and answering these questions now is going to give you more security and more flexibility when it comes to your outlook on the season. During this offseason, the Lakers were one of the busiest teams. They entered the offseason with only 5 players on their roster, and as we speak, they currently have 12 players, 2 two-way contract players, and 2 Exhibit 10 contract players, which means there's still more to improve, and I do believe there are things we have to figure out. And by the time the Lakers get to training camp, I do believe they're going to have a better idea of the answers to these questions. The first question is fairly simple, and that is, who are the Lakers going to sign with their final roster spots? The Lakers right now have 3 available roster spots, and Rob Pelinka has been kind of quiet on what he wants to do. We are hearing so much rumors that NBA players are trying to make a return. There's news that Isaiah Thomas could be back, there's news that Lance Stephenson could be back, and there is also news that LaMarcus Aldridge could be back. Should the Lakers sign these veteran experienced players or go towards youth in their final roster signings? As of right now, Laker fans everywhere are saying the Lakers should sign Harry Giles with their final roster spot. And a very popular idea is bringing back Avery Bradley to be their lockdown defender. When the NBA free agency began, the Lakers were very active. They ended up signing players left and right. And because right now they've been a little bit quiet, I do believe Rob Pelinka is making his chess moves and trying to figure out the best possible piece. The next question is talking about Jared Dudley. Should the Lakers re-sign Jared Dudley for the 3rd straight year? As we speak, Jared Dudley is not on the Lakers roster. When talking about last season, Jared Dudley is known to be a great locker room presence, a great leader, and more importantly, a vocal experienced player. And even though he didn't play a lot of minutes on the floor, I do believe Jared Dudley did bring a lot to the table because of his high basketball IQ. The question is, should the Lakers sign him? And in my opinion, I'm going to give you my answer. I don't think the Lakers should sign Jared Dudley. After getting veterans like Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard, they don't need as much veteran experienced players for the young guys, and I do believe with their final roster spots, target younger players such as Harry Giles to develop. One thing that we're hearing though is that if the Lakers don't sign Jared Dudley to a contract, they actually might hire him as a coaching staff, an assistant coaching staff, or simply a trainer for the team. I believe that would be a viable option if the Lakers don't bring Jared back. Throughout Jared's career, he's been hit with so much negative and positive comments and feedback, but in my opinion, with the Lakers having interest of keeping him around, I do believe his value is more than you think. The next big question is talking about the Lakers lineup, talking about the Lakers starting lineup, their bench. How is Frank Vogel going to work out his rotation? From what it looks like right now, the 12 players on the Lakers roster, each of them are good enough to be in the rotation and get consistent minutes. But the question is, who is Frank Vogel and LeBron James going to prioritize? I am very confident though that Russell Westbrook will start at the point guard position, LeBron James will start at small forward, Anthony Davis will start at power forward. So the question is, who should the Lakers start at shooting guard and center? After trading for Russell Westbrook, the Lakers lost a lot of their depth. They traded away Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was the starting shooting guard. They lost Kyle Kuzma, who was their backup small forward, power forward player, and of course traded away Montrezl Harrell, their 6-man center. And now with the Lakers roster, they have to simply replace that rotation spot with the available pieces they have. So first, let's start off with the shooting guard position. Who should be the starting shooting guard? In my opinion, I want to see Wynne Ellerton as a starting shooting guard. The reason why I'm putting Wayne over players like Ken Bazemore and Trevor Ariza, Malik Monk, and Kendrick Nunn is simply because Wayne is now the best 3-point shooter on the Lakers team. Even though Wayne is one-dimensional, he only focuses on one thing. I do believe with the Lakers' all-around roster, their all-around superstar roster, they don't need Wayne to do much. Just catch and shoot at an efficient clip. Wynne Ellerton is a former Laker, a very respected three-point shooter in the NBA, and if he can come in, be a high-volume shooter, but also put a lot of effort on the defensive end, I do believe it's a big possibility that it would work out, as Russell Westbrook and LeBron James are both great playmakers. We know LeBron and Russell Westbrook are both not elite three-point shooters, so making sure you have a player that can spread the floor and be a threat in the starting lineup is going to be important, especially in starting games out hot. My answer to that question is starting Wynne Ellerton. What do you guys think? Of course, on the flip side, Laker fans everywhere are saying that THT, Talon Horton Tucker should start because he just signed a 3-year $30 million contract. When it comes to money value, he should be the starting shooting guard. But in my opinion, I don't believe Frank and LeBron are going to go towards that route. After losing Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, and KCP, I do believe THT is going to get more minutes. He's going to be kind of the six-man player off the bench to kind of be a combo guard, run the point and the shooting guard. And even though I believe THT is a better NBA player than Wynne Ellerton, he shot less than 30% from the three-point line last year, and that's why I don't believe it deserves a starting spot yet. One thing's for sure though, THT is young, has a bright future, and soon he could be a starter for the Lakers next season or the year after. So now the question is, who should the Lakers start at the center position? The Lakers just signed Dwight Howard to a veteran's minimum contract. He was a big part of their championship run 2 years ago, so now Laker fans are asking, are they going to start Dwight? We all know Dwight's a defensive anchor, and we all know he's going to close out games, especially on those defensive sets, but when it comes to his offense and shooting, he does not help the Lakers, especially in their starting lineup, and that's why I don't believe Dwight Howard is going to be the starting center. I believe the starting center for the Lakers is going to be Marc Gasol. The Lakers are going to keep him there as their playmaker and floor spacing big, but of course, maybe close out games with Dwight Howard or maybe Anthony Davis at the 5. When talking about last year, Marc Gasol was very underwhelming for the Lakers. But even though he was bad last year, his basketball IQ, his shooting ability makes the Lakers roster look more comfortable, especially if Anthony Davis is dominating the paint and having Marc Gasol and Wynne Ellerton space the floor. Marc Gasol should be the starting center unless they sign somebody else. The next thing I want to talk about is talking about Carmelo Anthony. After signing Carmelo Anthony, Laker fans everywhere were talking about the possibility of LeBron being small forward, Anthony Davis power forward, and Anthony Davis being at the starting center position. In my opinion, it's a great idea, but over the past 2 seasons, with Carmelo Anthony being a big factor off the bench for the Portland Trail Blazers, I want to see him do the exact same thing for the Lakers, come off the bench and be a scoring spark plug. I do believe there'll be many times where Carmelo Anthony closes out games, but sliding him into the starting lineup could simply take away a lot of usage rate from the best players on the squad of AD, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook. And that's why I do believe Carmelo Anthony should come off the bench. I do expect to see Melo in a lot of small ball rotations, but when talking about the starting lineup, I wouldn't recommend it. So yes guys, this wraps up my video for today, talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and some questions and training camp battles they're going to be facing very soon. What's most important to me is I want to know your thoughts. Do you guys have the answers to all of these questions I mentioned today? And if you do, put your thoughts down in the comment section down below and let's start a conversation. But other than that, take it easy, God bless. See you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!